Hello everyone, my name is Manny Uribe. I'm one of the culinary instructors here at Triton College. A tip for anytime you're cooking any steaks, you want to make sure you buy the thickest cut you can, right? So that we can get a nice temperature of whatever you decide to. And then pulling it out of the fridge 20 to 30 minutes before you actually want to cook it. So that way it brings it to a temperature where it's all going to cook a little bit more even and a lot faster. You want to make sure something to pat it dry. Once it's patted dry, you're going to have less liquid and it's going to give you a nicer sear. Okay. So we're going to start with some salt. We're going to season pretty heavy on the salt. We have some kosher salt. Some of the ground pepper. Okay, and as you put it down, I'm going to push it down here. We have some salt. Okay, so we have a T-bone on here. That's today's cut. This will cook pretty fast. T-bones are my go-to steaks when I'm grilling, right? So if you get a chance, you have access to a nice grill, pop this on the grill, you're gonna have such a much better steak, all right? So salt and pepper. We're going to start our pan, right? Make sure your pan is nice and hot. And now we're gonna start with some oil, right? Enough to coat the bottom. We can always add more. Then we have a lot of fat on the side, right? Let it pick up some of the salt, some of the seasoning. We're gonna try to render that off as well. Okay. There we go. What we wanna do is we wanna keep an eye on it so that way it doesn't start to burn. Our steak is going. We wanna minimize the amount of times that we're gonna flip this, all right? So you wanna make sure that as long as you don't see a bunch of smoke, you're looking good. You wanna make sure there's enough fat underneath, right? It's not sticking to the pan. A little bit more fat on this side, right? We have this. We take a look at our steak, right? So you're starting to get a little bit of color, right? So what we're gonna do is the tenderloin portion of the T-bone is gonna cook a lot faster than the actual strip, and you have a lot more fat on this side too. So the goal is going to be try to rendering that side down, right? So you can either hold on to this for a little bit, letting it render so that so it's enjoyable, it's not too fatty, right? So now at this point, I'm gonna take a whole garlic head. I'll take probably 2 cloves out of that. You wanna squeeze them a little bit, right? Pop them down so that way it opens them up a little bit. We're also gonna incorporate some of this compound butter. Okay, some fresh rosemary. And we're going to melt the butter, finish cooking it. You're gonna pick up the pan, right? And then you're going to give it a nice bath, right? You want the rosemary and the butter to really infuse, as you can see. Man, it smells great. We're gonna add a couple more cubes of butter. That's the secret to a lot of restaurant cooking, is all the butter that goes in. At this point, I'm turning off the heat. We don't want to burn the butter. We just want nice brown butter. Continue to infuse, right? At this point, the steak is pretty much ready to go. We're just going to let it rest so that way you don't just let all the juices out, right? So here we go. We're gonna take this and put it over a wire rack. Okay, so this is gonna just kind of hang out here, right? So if you feel like you need more than 10 minutes at this point, you might want to cover it with some aluminum foil so it doesn't get as cold, right? So we should be working with our sauces. We have all the butter in here. So our beautiful steak here. We'll remove this. What you're gonna do is find where the T-bone is, so follow it along. Okay, so come back down. We have our nice steak. What more can you ask for?